back up in this thing, me and my boy. And yeah, man, I don't know if you want to jump into this. I don't really have all the details, but if you want to jump into this motherfucking verdict and shit, just touch on it for a little 3 minutes or whatever. Maybe give your thoughts or your opinion.
It's so ridiculous. Like, well, it's not ridiculous. We all knew it was gonna happen. Like, especially if anybody, even if you were just like, even just like on the outskirts, like following the trial, you knew this was gonna happen. But like, yeah.
Once they started saying things like self-defense, it was like, oh shit. But yeah, continue.
But
shit.
it's just ridiculous, man. Like, I don't even know how else to put it except it's just fucking ridiculous. Like, honestly, like, it's ridiculous. This kid kills 3 people and injures others with a fucking weapon, and he gets and not guilty on all counts. They took away like the fact that he was an underage having the gun, the fact that he brought it across state lines and all that.
He wasn't even supposed to be there. That right there is the only thing that throws me off. If you're brought, but like, hey, I want to go to this situation with my gun. You have no reason to even be there, yet you choose to go there. Something happens where somebody tries to come at you, and it gets to be ruled as self-defense, knowing damn well you shouldn't even have been there. You shouldn't even have been there, and you out here taking people's lives.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Regardless if somebody comes at you, self-defense, yes. You might have to use deadly force. A life might get taken. But again, if you have no business even being there, choice. Again, you chose to ask your mom or whoever made the decision for y'all to drive over there. Y'all chose
across a state line.
But beyond that, that's like me. I'm gonna just drive to Manitoba and kill somebody. Why? Or I'm gonna just go to Manitoba and attend a protest, but I'm gonna have a firearm. And if anybody tries to act up, I'm shooting them. And then it's gonna be self-defense because I didn't start it. I'm looking at it like this, bro. Regardless if he had the gun with him already or if he got across state lines and then got the gun from one of his homies, regardless. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, if you're gonna take somebody's lives, not even one person, if you're gonna take multiple people's lives and nothing happens, and then motherfucking Biden talking about the justice system. I stand with the justice system, and this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third. And I'm saying to myself, yo, it's not even about left, right. It's not about being political or not. It's about saying, yo, 3 lives or taken, multiple injured, and there's no repercussion. You can't tell me that the system's fixed. You can't tell me the system.
And as much as I hate the Canadian justice system, as much as a farce it is, if that had happened here, that motherfucker'd be in jail for the rest of his life. Like, there's no question.
See, that's the thing. Even with the Canadian justice system, you could kill somebody and get 7 years, bro. Not life. You can kill somebody and get 7 years, bro. And then and I'm not tripping. I'm like, hey. And for all my homies out there doing their thing, if you got to do your thing, hey, that's fucked up. But hey, but I'm saying in a real way, if you're going to take somebody's life and there's nothing that happens, after 3 days of delegation, no. Y'all should have took more days of delegation then. Because if you're going to give that verdict, and I don't care if he's a minor or not, or he just turned 18, bro, you know how many 15-year-old, Dave Chappelle had a joke when he's like a 15-year-old accidentally killed his friend doing wrestling moves in the backyard. They gave him life. They charged him as an adult. It was like a manslaughter or some shit, or some type of murder or something that they gave this guy, 2nd degree or some type of bullshit. I don't know, but I just know that they gave the kid life. And I'm saying to myself, that was a young black man wrestling moves in the backyard with his homie. What the fuck? And then it goes to a point of this guy going across state lines, whether he had a gun with him or got the gun. Bro, you took lives. And it's not even about, okay, self-defense or not. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, what's going to happen, though, is the repercussion is it might not be him specifically who gets injured, but other people are going to start. There's already protests in Minnesota and shit like that for the verdict. And that shit happened like last night or whatever, 2 nights ago or whatever. I'm saying, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because you have so many different people accidentally hurting or killing somebody, getting life in prison. My man purposely did the shit. Regardless if you went to the police station after, hey man, I did this. The police should have locked his ass up right there and made sure that his ass there's some real shit happening as far as repercussions. Hey, bro, but
Trayvon Martin was considered an adult. They treated him like an adult in all the proceedings and all this. And that motherfucker was 17 years old and got shot.
Bro, they killed
this fucking random dude as he was walking home because he had a black hoodie on.
Bro, they killed Ahmaud.
What the fuck?
They killed Ahmaud Arbery for running in the neighborhood. For looking for, there was a constructed house. He just looked in it. He didn't take nothing. He just was outside looking in it or whatever and kept it pushing. And they tried to kill him saying he stole something. And even if he did steal something, that's not worth his life. And it's not for you two, no disrespect, but you two white motherfuckers to put that verdict on him. Like, how you gonna kill a man? I'm white and I have a pistol, so I'm gonna kill him. What the fuck? And then you go to this guy.
Ridiculous.
And don't get me wrong, although the guys who he killed, the young man killed, they were white or whatever, but it's the fact that they were demonstrating at a Black Lives Matter movement, trying to say, hey, we want justice for him to be there and trying to govern, have an assault rifle and trying to govern other people. Why are you even there? As if the police needed your help. Oh, we're calling all random 17-year-old white dudes from Kenosha or whatever to come over to Minnesota, and we need all you guys to come and help us patrol. What? That's not how this works, kid. It's not how this works. No, unfortunately, somebody gonna fuck him up.
The only thought that was going through my mind this whole time going through this trial was, what would this have looked like if this was a black guy? Like if this was a black teen, it wouldn't have even got to trial. He wouldn't even have survived the arrest.
Yeah, he would have died. He would have died in those cuffs. He would have died in those motherfucking handcuffs. When the police got him, somehow he magically fell and his neck broke and like that type of bullshit would have happened. Bro, they look at how they treated Sandra Bland, bro. She ended up killed in a prison cell where the police are supposed to be watching her, and then they're gonna try to say it's suicide. And this woman had expressed all types of videos before she even got like locked up that she's not like on some suicidal type shit. Like that's why like I'm publicly saying, listen, if anything ever happens to me, Graham Kelly, and motherfucking, he committed suicide. I am not depressed. I'm not suicidal. I love the shit out of my life. So anyhow, he cut both his wrists. How did he cut both his goddamn wrists? How did like, you know what I mean? Like they did that to me. They would fucking do that shit to me. Like it just is. It makes me it makes me mad because it's not about just being like, yo, white privilege. It's not about that. It's about saying, okay, how can we express that a system works when it only works for one demographic? AKA, it does work, but that's how it's designed. It's not supposed to help anybody else. And it's not about being racial or trying to pit me against you or anything like that. But it's like, fuck, bro. Like, it's just frustrating understanding that I could jaywalk and have my life taken and somebody could rob a bank or go into church and kill 9 black people and get brought to Burger King. That shit is crazy to me, bro. That shit is crazy to me.
It's fucking despicable. Like, it's truly despicable. Like, it's nothing but like systemic racism. And then if we want to look at if anyone wants to take, blah, blah, blah. Well, then if we want to take the race out of it, we'll look at the class element of it too. Rich white people, they'll get away with everything. Like, look at the planets. You see rich black people don't get away. I'm not saying that it's supposed to, people are supposed to get away with crimes. I'm just simply saying they'll make sure they find who they have. Like, if I'm a rich black dude who launders money and this, that, and the third, they're gonna find my ass. You a rich white dude who launders his money and puts his money in a Swiss bank account. Oh, it's all good, baby. It's all good. We couldn't find it. They're still looking for them Jeffrey Epstein or whatever motherfucking accounts and shit. And that shit's gone now. Nobody talking about that shit. Nobody's talking about that shit. And all the people who are involved in that situation, the actors and shit like that, they still living their lives. They still chilling, movies and shit. Fucking kills me, bro. It's ridiculous. It truly is ridiculous. Like, yeah. Is why I intentionally stayed away from like keeping like too invested in the like watching the proceedings of this, because I knew how this was going to go. I saw how things were going to go. As soon as I saw how things were shaping up, how the judge was on his side, how the prosecution was fucking everything up. You're basically paid to lose. Like, fucking hell. Like, It was ridiculous. Like, it was a farce from the start. So I didn't even want to get invested in this just because I knew I was just going to get my blood pressure rising and just get agitated for no fucking reason except because I'm watching this.
No, literally, yeah.
Here we are, proven right again.
But that's the truth though. But Trent, that's how most of us view it sometimes, and it sucks because we think about it like we don't want to be stressed. We don't want to add stress to our lives, and it sucks because when you see these things, you can only think, okay, like because I got 2 young nephews, bro, 115, 112, and they're both relatively tall now, so they can look like a grown person to a quote unquote scared I was scared for my life to a cop or whatever. They can look grown. And that's what scares me because it's like, as much as me or my sister or the dad like tries to instruct them, it's about being like, okay, somebody might want to just feel that they were scared. And then your outcome is altered. Your outcome of life could be altered.
Especially if they have that badge and a gun. Because they have that legal right to feel scared to kill somebody. It's like, what? Why are you having that badge and the gun if you're in that fucking like mental headspace in the first place?
Although, don't get me wrong, I understand police officer, that job is extremely stressful. You're going into situations, you can lose your life every day. Understood. That is very understood. But on the flip side of things, if you're going around abusing your authority and abusing your power and slamming people on the ground for jaywalking and shit like that and potentially breaking their face or whatever just because you wanted to, at that point, it doesn't really matter whether or not you claim, oh, I was scared, or you. That's going to come back to you in a way that's harsher than what you're doing to these people. Some of these cops who fucked around and killed people and they got that paid leave or whatever the case is. I don't know where they are right now, but I'm assuming somebody's probably plotting against them motherfuckers, and it sucks. But it's like it basically like it's like saying street justice. Okay, the actual justice system didn't have it happen. Okay, somebody else is going to take care of that, and it sucks, but the fate that you want to create, in my opinion, Trent, the fate that people want to create, that shit is coming right back to them, bro. If you out here hurting kids and shit and all that sicko shit, somebody gonna do that shit to you. Especially if you get caught and they put you in jail, somebody gonna do that to you. I promise you that.
You better take that protective custody if that's your case. Jesus.
But I'm saying that type of wild shit, bro. We got to understand, Trent. We're living in a time where things can appear to be sweet and nice and oh shit, yeah, bro, I got money now and this, that, and the third, and I got a dope ass individual, like, oh, like me and my wife, da da da. But then it sucks that we have to be reminded of this reality too. You know, I don't know, man. I just, at the end of the day, it is what it is, though. I'm cool talking. I'm done talking on this, though. As far as like, it sucks, but
it's part of the reality of our existence. It's that dangerous part of the existence. Like we can sit here and like try and speculate about the good things, about the potentially good things, and talk about all that, but it's a real possibility of these dangerous things too. So it's just about being aware of these things and not trying to keep yourself like that's all you're talking about and that's all you're thinking about, sort of thing, but it's just to be aware of these sort of things. It's all about like a fine balance with that. Like, yeah, like you said. That's enough said.
No, it's fucking, it's real though, bro. It's real, man. It's just, I don't know. And it's like, I was talking to my pops earlier, and I was talking to him like, yo, it's real. And I just know that no matter what, man, like I'm not even, like, in truth, like I'm not even worried about, like, at first, before, like I was worried about like for example, like I had like one of my homies here or whatever, and like we're recording a podcast and shit, and I'm saying to myself, fuck, man, like I was thinking about it, like if Trent says some shit that he doesn't really want no one to hear, and he says like, yo, man, you know what, let's cut that out. My man's is just sitting right there hearing everything. But I say that, I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I trust people enough that they wouldn't necessarily put judgment. They wouldn't put judgment on you if you said some shit that you wouldn't necessarily want anyone else to hear. We'd still cut it out, but I'm saying it, I'm trying to surround myself with people who, if I can genuinely have a real connection with them, we talk about real shit, we're actually progressing and moving forward. I'm not gonna feel bad if I express some deep shit. You know what I mean? Like, we still might cut it out and it might not go mass production wise, but it's one of those things where I don't want to have, like, it's cool to be silly and shit, but nowadays, Trent, I don't want to have conversations if we're not building or propelling ourselves towards something greater. I feel like it's not about me being some type of fucking conversation dictator, but it's like, how else do we grow? How else do we even like experience joy and things like that if we don't ever attack anything head on?
Mm-hmm.
We're always aloof and, oh, you know what I mean? Like, and you're right. We have to have balance. You can't think about deep shit all the time, but it's like, I feel like we don't think about deep shit enough. We don't converse to each other about deep shit enough sometimes, you know?
100%. You are completely correct on that one there. Like, everyone's just more about the pleasantries and the cliches that, like, everyone has like a standard script they'd stick to, sort of thing. Like, oh, how about the weather? Oh, how about that? You know what I mean? Like, they don't talk about, how are you feeling? Like, how are you feeling? Like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those conversations don't really happen much, like, frankly.
Yeah, man. And that's why it's good that I'm glad that we have this podcast. And I'm glad that we can have these conversations, because it's like, and again, like, yeah, we can have fun and shit. Nothing's ever wrong with that, but it's got to be balanced, man. I feel like everything is for entertainment, and that's cool. But who's actually talking to the babies? Who's actually talking to the youth? Like, who's actually trying to actually say something where it's like, yo, you might not have a dad right now, and I'm not your dad, but let me drop some game that hopefully can assist you as far as being a man, as far as letting yourself grow. Not even on no weird stuff, but it's like, if you're right now trying to go through a metamorphosis, okay, I'm on caterpillar mode, I'm on larva mode, or whatever. I'm trying to be a butterfly, or whatever the case is. You gotta go through steps. You gotta allow that growth to happen. But if somebody's constantly stunting your growth, it's gonna suck. Meaning, like, if somebody's constantly feeding you bullshit, like, oh, yo, do this. Oh, yo, this is how you get the ladies. Oh, yo, this is how you. And then it's like, okay, I'm doing all this shit and I'm destroying myself, but I'm not actually, I don't know why I'm destroying myself. It's because you're getting bad information. Or unfortunately, the source of the person who's giving you that information, it's not with good intentions. I'm trying to speak. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm trying to ask what drives us. But at the same time of asking what drives us to be better or to grow, what are your intentions behind what drives you? You know what I mean? I don't know, like, what drives you? And what are your intentions behind what drives you?
Something Hemingway said, there's no nobility in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self. And that's something I've tried to live. Like, that's how I've tried to be. Like, I'm just trying to be better than who I was yesterday, really. Like, anything. Like, whether it be like physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be like wokeness or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like, consciousness expanding. Like, I just want to just try to be a better me than I was 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I feel like I've come a long way with it, but still. But there's also something I've been hip to recently where there is no nobility, like no superior to your former self either at all. That's the highest level. That's like Yoda shit right there. Like, where you've hit that, like, that point. I'm trying to get to that, but I'm not there yet.
Oh, but that's that you mentioned Yoda, and that's that the little quote I saw from Yoda on Instagram when he's just like, yo, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose, because it's real, man. Like, whether it's a mentality that you're training, that you're afraid to lose, like, yo, man, but if I don't act this way, I'm not gonna get the bitches, or yo, if I don't act this way, I'm not gonna get the paper. But the reality is, once you drop all that shit, and even talking about, like, how you're saying, like, the true height is not even worrying about being in your like, not even worrying about being superior to your past self. That's that true height that you're talking about. I feel like, in my opinion, one of the ways to accomplish that is understanding that it might sound crazy, but it's like understanding you're the lowest of the low, meaning a servant. You're whether it's a servant to yourself, a servant to others, a servant to the world, the universe, nature, being a servant and living a life of servitude, or trying to constantly assist or be better or show love or whatever in a real way with genuine intentions. I feel like that's one of the ways we can accomplish that true highest self. Because if it's all for self, if it's all for me, like if I'm in the opposite, all I'm gonna do is take all your money. All I want to do is steal all your time. Da, da, da. If I'm on the opposite of being in servitude, I'm only being greedy. Obviously, I'm gonna destroy myself. Self-destruction is fucking real, man. And it's because a lot of us have that selfish, mine, give me mentality, but we mask that shit and act like we're not that way. You know?
And I think it's, you know, like I say, it's part and parcel of how like the society we live in and just everything we've been taught. Like it's all about unlearning that and basically trying to like steer your own directions and see what means, like I said, what you said, what drives you and what means more to you than just like money, status, like having fucking, you know, a billion flying jets, you know what I mean? You know what, like shit like that. Like it's all about like what really matters to yourself. And to me, and I know to you as well too, family, like the people around us, like my friends, that's what's real to me. That's what's really important. Like that's what's actually happening. Like that is like where our culture begins. That's where everything starts, is with the people around us. It's where everything like true change and all that starts, is from the people around us and all that. And it's just basically, if you're giving it away to something else, like if you're giving it away to like media, to icons and stuff like that, to like shit brain mentalities, like going after these things like that, you're losing. Like that's the only way to describe it. You're giving it away to like these bad energy, you're giving it away to these toxic things, and you need to not. You just need to not. You need to get back to what is like real and like what is like you can feel and touch and be around and change.
What's the source? That's why like when I ask what drives you, it's like what's the source? Like what's like how you're saying like family, that's what's real. It's not even like in the sense of real, like, oh, it's tangible, I can touch it, but it's like, I don't know, bro. We're gonna be a part of the ether one day, bro. We're gonna be stardust one day. And it's like, I just don't want to live a life of worrying about what other people think of me from a like an ego standpoint. That's why like I made a post like the other day. I deleted it, but because people were hitting me up like, yo, did you die? Nah. I'm just like, oh my goodness. No, I'm saying to you guys that I'm killing my ego. I'm killing my former self, which I done. Like I'm choosing not to be the Graham of old. I'm choosing not to be a motherfucker who, though yes, certain women might, oh, no, you're attractive, blah, blah. I'm choosing not to feed into that bullshit, because the reality is like that doesn't really drive me. It has nothing to do other than like it just boosts my ego. It just makes me more narcissistic. I don't even know how to say the word narcissistic or whatever. Like, and I don't want to live that lifestyle. I don't want to jump, like I go on Instagram and post our pod or post my little art or whatever, but it's like, bro, I went on Instagram today, clicked on my little explore page and saw nothing but ladies, bro. Nothing but and they all looked the same. Like all of them like had the same quote unquote beauty standard. They're all standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, taking a picture and shit. And I'm saying to myself, this has to stop. I don't care about this type of shit. Like the vanity of others. I don't care about that shit. But I'm on Instagram, to the people listening, just as a tool now. You might not catch no vain posts from me anymore. Like, oh, look at Graham showing off his muscles or whatever. It's not even about that shit no more. I promise you. Like, I know in the past people might hit me up, yo, man, that's too much. You're doing too much. But at the same time, it's like, at that time, I was thinking selfishly. I was thinking, man, fuck y'all. Because y'all ain't supporting my shit anyway. You know what I mean? Which is true. Motherfuckers wasn't supporting me anyway, but nah, bro. It's just now I want to not live a life of vanity and an egotistical life and shit like that, which is why I said in what drives you, it's like living a life of servitude, like being something less than you actually, quote unquote, actually are, to understand the true humility of it all. You know, how else are you going to do it? You know?
Good point. Had a lot of humility, humbling jobs. I can think of that. Yeah. And that really, teaches you the value of hard work and whatnot, but also teaches you to hate a lot of it too, if you're me. But that's just me.
No, but that's a trend. Like, for example, I could be in a, like, whether it's cleaning a grocery store, cleaning the hospital, portering patients around the hospital, working in a scrapyard with literally like $6 in my motherfucking to my name and shit because motherfuckers is getting paid cash and shit. Just going through certain
those days,
bro. Going through certain phases of life will show you, yo. Like basically, I know that in my opinion, I don't believe anything's a coincidence. Everything happens how it's supposed to happen. Yes, we make our choices, which allows those things to happen. But this illusion of control is what I'm trying to destroy in my own existence. This illusion of, if I do this, this will automatically happen. When that's not the case. We got to build up to certain things. You don't just, yes, in science, action has an equal and reaction to it or whatever, and that's cool. But I'm saying from a standpoint of, if I'm gonna fuck around and do something, I know it's gradual. Nothing happens overnight. And I feel like I trained myself to like think, you know what, once I do this action, this is immediately gonna happen. I have to untrain myself to not think that way. Because you're gonna keep setting yourself up for disappointment. When you think that, yo, how come this didn't happen for me, but it happened for, you can't look at other people's journeys and shit. You can't look at other people's lives. You have to focus on you. You know what I mean? And then have shit happen gradually. Otherwise, you might not be able to sustain it. How many people you hear about hit the lottery and then unfortunately go broke 2-3 years later? It's that gradual buildup that helps us sustain it. I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Like,
I couldn't have said it any better, man. You really said it. Everything takes one day at a time. Like, even though it is a path of 1,000 miles, you walk it one step at a time. Consider this well. That's something I've always lived. That's something I've lived by since I came across it. It's literally, you can't take this, like, if there's no fast forward button with life. I wish there was for a lot of times, but there isn't. So this, like we said a lot of time, this is the only moment you have. This one right now you're living in. So take it for what it is, good, bad, irregular, whatever.
That's it. It's like turning, like one thing I was talking to my pops, we touched on is like just turning positives or turning negatives into positives, but also turning positives into negatives. Like experiences in life, bro. Some people think about it like, oh, yo, man, that was a badass experience. That was a negative experience, bro, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, it wasn't even necessarily like that. You have the opportunity to view it as a negative or a positive. It's okay. For example, somebody said that it's not negative and positive experiences. It's just experiences. You choose how you want to label it, so to speak. Like, what would be your thoughts on that? Like, do you think, it was a positive experience or it was a negative? Or do you think we have the power to choose? Nah, even though I hurt myself, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. AKA, it was a negative, but you made it a positive. You know what I mean? Like,
perspective is definitely the key in that. Like, it all depends on how you look at things. I feel 100%. So there's no such thing as objectivity when it comes to like experience. It's all in complete like subjective person. Like I said, like I had like, I can like, the only thing I can think about when it comes to that is like looking at university. I look at it all like overall as like completely necessary for the time. Like I needed to get out of this town. I needed to get out and experience what I did and all that. But there's a lot of regrets and there's a lot of like bad times I associate with that as well too.
Okay.
So it's a real matter of perspective, right? With it, like other people look at me like, oh, you're fucking like super educated now because you went to university and you have a degree and whatnot. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, so once again, it's all a matter of perspective when it comes to like experiences, right? Like for me, it could have been like the best time. For other people, it could have been the worst of times. You know what I mean? And somewhere in between those, that's probably what really happened.
Okay. So like there's kind of like a middle ground. Like you found like kind of like a average, so to speak, of between the positives and negatives. You found that median. Okay. So
it's literally just taking everything like with like, okay, this was bad, but like what could be gained out of this, and it's like trying to turn a law, like this is another episode we talked about in another episode, like turning a loss into a lesson or turning like a bad thing into a lesson sort of thing. You can do that with good things too, but with the bad things, it's mostly trying to like spin that in a way you can feel better about yourself and like try to like, okay, I learned something from this, so it wasn't all bad sort of thing.
But see, that's what
But that's all about perspective again.
That's what I was gonna say. But see, it's even like to saying like the bad thing. For example, 17 years old, hurt the shit out of my leg, tore my ACL, this, that, and the third. Right. It was the summer before my senior year. So I couldn't play any sports. I feel like that was like the only time, even though I was in a relationship with like my little high school sweetheart or whatever, that was the time where I feel like I was at like my lowest in life. And though it wasn't like I didn't get paralyzed or whatever the case is, like it wasn't like quote unquote that bad. As a 17-year-old, you're thinking to yourself, shit, I'm not going to get to play senior sports. Unfortunately, that's potentially going to cost me, whether it's any type of scholarship or whatever the case is that I could have got at athletic scholarships and things like that. That shit cost me that. It sucks because then it turns into, okay, how do we bounce back from here? What I did was I went extra hard in the paint. As soon as like I was cleared to start doing physiotherapy and heal my leg and shit, I went extra hard in the paint. Came back for like a extended year or whatever, or not grade 13, but like that extra year after grade 12 or whatever. They don't call it grade 13 anyway. But you fuck around, go there. I play sports. I do my thing. I don't get an academic scholarship, but I felt amazing after each season. And then I say to myself, okay, cool. I like bounce back from that quote unquote depression or whatever. But it wasn't even about like, because looking back at it now, it's like, bro, when I was 17, like you don't even think about, because you're thinking about like, oh, school and girls and shit, I'm not going to be able to play on the university at Laurier's football team and this, that, or whatever, right? Like, and it's like, fuck. But at the same time, I had all types of great experiences and shit. And I realized I wasn't even supposed to play those sports because I could have fucked around and got injured for real. Not injured for real, like, because again, I played it throughout all high school, but I could have fucked around and actually got paralyzed or actually got some type of brain trauma.
Fucked up proper.
Bro, I played football, so that was the thing. So it's like, I say that to say, I'm not looking back to try to justify and be like, oh, that's what, but I'm looking at like, yo, it was supposed to happen. And I'm glad it did because it's one of the best things that ever happened. Bro, I learned who some of my realest friends are during that moment, because during the times where a lot of people want to party and get drunk and all that other shit, some of the homies were kicking it out of the crib with me while my leg was healing and shit, or whatever the case is. Or like my girl or whatever at the time, like I would kick it at her crib or whatever, and we would just chill out and shit. But I say all that to say, it's like, it's one of the best things that happened because it showed me who my real friends were. You could easily look at it and be like, yo, this is negative, man. I hurt my, but I was 17. Although I had my little depression, I actually was thinking about that at the same time. Like, yo, this is actually one of the best things that happened to me. Because as I'm realizing, like, yo, certain people only paid attention to me because I was a quote unquote athlete or one of the stars of the team or whatever. And it's like, it makes you think, like, once you don't, it basically showed me once you don't have something, the genuine people are going to be around. The people who flee from you and run away from you, they were not even supposed to be in your experience of life. AKA one of the best things that happened to me. So turning a negative to a positive, or turning a positive to a negative, bro. So it's perspective, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I enjoy that we have the ability to discern which one it is, or to perceive which one it is in our experiences. I actually enjoy that part, you know. But even like looking at how we would like determine like, oh shit, like if I don't do this, like say you're like, oh, if I don't go to school, I'm not going to get a great job. But then let's just say you go to school and then you quote unquote don't get a great job. It's those types of it's those types of I'm not talking about you in any way. I was just saying just general. Like if you fuck around and have that experience, you're going to have a distorted view of reality because you're saying to yourself, I did everything. I already did everything I was supposed to do, you know? And then it's like, I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. I don't know, man. It just makes me think like, how, like we kind of all have to make those choices for self, like as far as what am I really trying to do with life? Because if we base it off of what society tells us, go to school, get a good job, do this, get this, we might not have the best experiences that we were supposed to. We're following somebody else's rule book, so to speak.
Yeah, I wish I had learned that earlier on, but here we are, 29 and learning that.
Hey, bro.
But fuck it. You know what? Like we said in another podcast, you can't go at like somebody else's pace. You can only go at your own pace.
That's the thing, man. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, man. Again, it's just whether it's you're talking about like life experiences, like whether it's violent or whatever the case is, or you're talking about some shit that's positive. I don't know. I feel like the ability to choose, like discern, like which one is which, but I kind of follow although like yes, there can be negative and positive experiences, but I kind of follow I'm starting to look into like that notion that they're all just experiences, Trent, and it's not negative or positive. It's just experiences. The reason why I'm saying that too is because to the people who don't, like, for example, I believe in a higher power, different things of that nature. But for the people who choose not to in that, and you just think, nope, this is everything is just like everything is just there is nothing other than me. Like there's nothing like I'm a person, there's nothing more. If you're thinking that way, to think that there's a quote unquote good or evil, I don't know how you would come to that conclusion, because there's no source behind what would be a good thing or an evil thing. AKA, it's just an experience. You're going through this experience of life. Versus, well, I'm looking at, well, if you say you're on that in that realm, explain what your thoughts would be then.
Like if we're looking at it, if you can't determine a source for it, I still say moral. There's still morals. When you don't have to have like a religion or anything like higher power to believe in morals, like good and wrong. Like if everything's just an experience and you're looking at it like that, that's kind of, yeah, I don't know about that. But like if we're looking at it like it has nothing to do with religion, murder, robbing people and stuff like that, like we can universally agree that's not a good thing. Don't messing with other people's happiness and stuff like that. Thing.
Some people don't have that mentality. Meaning, okay, for example, you stealing something from somebody else to try to feed your family.
Mm-hmm. That's different.
Somebody's saying, but hear me out. Somebody's saying that stealing is wrong. Regardless, stealing is wrong. Then you find like a Robin Hood type situation who quote unquote steals from the rich and gives to the needy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a wrong action, in my opinion. That's somebody doing something just. You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with religion. I'm saying from a standpoint of what's your source? Because if you're gonna look at it like morally, I can think that this is right, this is right, this is right, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and then be like, I don't want to, but I'm not going to attribute it. I'm not going to, like, what gives you that moral stance to say like, yo, don't steal or don't kill somebody? And it's not about saying religion. It's about saying if you don't have any type of mental, I'm trying to think of the word, like something to give you that like innate feeling. Like if you don't have it, because when you're a kid, they say when you're born, you just know right from wrong, but that's not the case. You're typically taught these things, is what I'm saying. Like you might to a degree, but to certain kids who might be born and you don't have no like quote unquote proper tutelage, that's how you have some of these 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds out here shooting people with pistols and shit, but they don't know that it's wrong, so to speak. There wasn't anything to teach them. And it's, again, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of if you think that it's hard to have both, understanding that like I'm a morally good, quote unquote, morally good person. Like saying I'm a morally good person. I choose to do this. I choose to respect my wife. I choose to do everything I have to make sure that everyone around me is safe, this, that, and the third. But at the same time, I don't want to honor what I'm actually, like the morals that I'm supposed to uphold. I don't want to honor them for real. Like I'm doing this only because society tells me to. At that point, are you a quote unquote good person for real or a moral person for real?
No,
or
you're a sociopath at that point. For real.
Just following society's guidelines. You don't actually care. You don't actually respect your wife. You don't actually, but you know that society wants you to. And I'm not like, it's just, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of like, if you just like for example, saying that, like for me to say to you, Trent, yo, I'm trying to respect everybody, the ways they live, every type of gender, whatever the case is. But then at the same time saying like, yo, in this quote unquote religion, this is all wrong, so everybody's going to hell. Like, how can I say that I'm a good person? Whether I believe in that religion for real or not, whether I take I'm taking bits and pieces of these different religions and adding it to my life, but then saying, yo, I don't believe in any type of religion, but you're still living the tenets. Like, it's just, a lot of people have like they take bits and pieces of, or like saying like, oh, and again, it has nothing to do with like, because you can be Islamic, Christian, Judaism. You can be in all these different, you can be in any type of religion and think to yourself, yo, this religion I'm in is wrong. Or, oh, this thing I'm doing is wrong. Or you can be someone who believes there's a higher power, does your best to do what you feel is right, and you don't actually subscribe to something, like you're not labeled as anything. Or you can be someone who, I don't believe in any of that stuff, but I'm quote unquote a good person. And then you say to yourself, okay, but what's your source like for saying that you're a good person? And it's not about saying what's your higher power. I'm saying what causes you to, well, if you have an answer, what would cause you to?
You don't need to have a source to be a good person. Like, I don't understand the question with that. Like, if it like I base
what drives those decisions? What causes you to, like, when you just get up and say, I know it's the right thing to do? Well, what makes you feel like it's the right thing to do is what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about,
I don't want to do that to anybody. I'd rather not have that done to me. That's how I look at things. Like, oh, I don't want to go out and fuck somebody else out of their house because I wouldn't want to be fucked out of my house. I don't want to have somebody like take my life savings away from me because I wouldn't want to do that to somebody else because I wouldn't want to have them do that to me. And
okay,
I don't know. It's
but
just,
understanding that I know you might not subscribe to anything, but you understand that those are like tenant, like that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was raised
for us. The time long before us.
I was raised in the church. I was very religious for a long period of life, and then I gave it all up, and I just went my own way with it. But that also flows through every single major religion, the golden rule: treat other people like you want to treat yourselves. So I think that's just a human thing, not a religious thing or a thing that just comes from a natural, like, not just survival standpoint, but like within like living in the confines of like society and whatever else, living with other human beings, interacting with them. I don't want to have this done to me. So I'm not going to do it to anybody else. I think that's where it all comes from.
And it's like, do we feel that, because like, regardless of, again, even if you don't have, it's not about religion. I'm saying from a standpoint of, even if you don't, like, if you believe, or if you feel that there's something that's, like, for example, if you feel like there's something within you, and I'm talking about like whether it's like your spirit, your soul, whatever, if you feel like you actually have something of that nature within you that animates this clay that we call our human self, it's like I feel like there's a universal or cosmic connection to something bigger than us. Why I say that is, you wouldn't be able to have certain intuitions and things of that nature. Like, I don't think that we'd be able to discern like what's quote unquote morally right, even if you weren't introduced to religion, period. Like, you're a kid who was not raised in a church, but you quote unquote were taught right and wrong, or you feel with, like, because there's certain times in my life, bro, where it's like I don't think certain things could have actually happened by quote unquote happenstance. Like, I feel like certain things were just preordained, like, as far as like, oh shit, I met this person and they led me to this situation, and so on and so forth, versus acting like it's all me, saying like, yo, I made the decision to go to the university at Laurier, and then I met this person and did that. When the reality is, if that was the only school that I got into or whatever, and it's like, just things happen almost in a sequence, like an unexplainable sequence. Some shit I didn't even choose, bro. Like, it chose me, as far as like Like for example, if I learn that certain negative things happen in life, and then I have the ability to change them, and I don't, and then things get worse, it's like I feel like that shit was on me. You know what I mean? Like, and this shit, it sucks because it's like I'm taking, when I say like source, I'm talking about like whether you want to call it your soul, your spirit, because most people might say like, yo, I don't have a soul. It's like, okay, well, if you don't, why do you even choose to quote unquote be, or quote unquote be moral, or choose to, in the sense of you could just literally be living free in that aspect. You don't have to have a moral code. You don't have to have ethics. You don't, like, but you choose to. It's a choice, right? Like, so once you choose to have that choice of like, yo, man, you know what? I'm gonna fuck around and be the best person possible. I'm gonna live the best way I can. Once you choose to engage in that type of mentality, it doesn't have to do with God or whatever. It's like you're choosing to be quote unquote good, or you're choosing to have some type of, like, you're choosing to illuminate the actual, like, whatever's inside you to actually be that person, versus I'm gonna choose to be a sociopath. Choice. Like, I'm gonna choose to be the shitty person. Like how you're saying you don't want things done, like how multiple religions might have that tenet within them. They all came from a source too, bro. Like, they, as far as like whatever caused that motherfuckers to, and have similarities within each three. It's not like people who speak Arabic and people who speak fucking Hebrew and people who, they didn't all have the same language to be able to converse with each other to share these tenets. So it's like, who allowed each of these motherfuckers to have those similarities? And I'm not even talking about just God. I'm saying if there was one person who just knew all the languages and went to different tribes or different places in the world and gave each like, I obviously we won't be able to know who, but I'm saying like, that's why when I say what's the source, I'm trying to figure out like, what are people's sources for their quote unquote moral lifestyles, or feeling that they live a moral lifestyle. And because if I can just say, yo, Trent, you know what, fuck God, I ain't with that shit, and then my life starts to unfortunately take unfortunate turns, and I'm saying to myself, I'm doing everything I can right. Why the fuck am I don't know if there's a correlation, but it's like, I would feel like that. I'm saying if that was me specifically. The one time I fucked around and acted a fool and was on some mentality where I'm like, man, this shit ain't real. Nah. One of my best friends died the next week and shit. And I said it like, I have nothing to do with that. Nah. But then it's like, you fuck around and miss calls from this person. You fuck around and miss text messages from this person. And it's like, then you have no other choice but to feel like you could have potentially, hopefully stopped that shit. I don't know, bro. I feel like it's just way deeper than just us acting like there is nothing else. I'm not saying specifically God, but I'm saying, like, to use that term, because I know people use that term and then they get like, oh, there is no God. But it's like something there. They can't just be humans. Knowing that once you die, your energy does not destroy. Like, that shit, wherever it goes, it goes. Like, but that's why when I say like, what's the source? It's like, and it sucks because unfortunately, people do pass away. And some of them get brought back to life. And, yo, man, when I died, I saw this, and this. How do we just dispel those people's accounts? You know what I mean? Like, when they actually, quote unquote, experienced it or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know, Trent. So that's why when I asked like the question earlier, what was your source? It's not about just being like, yo, God, but it's like, is there a higher situation that we don't know about? Because something that told you to be good or be moral, Trent, like, we can say, oh, yo, my parents taught me, but who taught them? How does it all stem down to a point where you feel like, yo, I'm a good person? That's what I mean in a sense of trying to be deep, because we could talk about the football games and shit like that all day, or what's new in fucking pop culture. But if we're actually saying that we're moral people, or if we're actually feeling like our lives are going the way we're supposed to go, then cool. But if we don't feel that way, it's like, what are we going to do to change it, Trent? You know what I mean? What are we going to do to fucking make it a better experience for ourselves? What are we going to take away? What are we going to add to help ourselves move more fucking, progressively through life? These are the questions I'll be asking myself. So don't get me wrong. Although I might have brought it up like as if I was saying like, yo, religion. Nah, but I'm saying I believe that there's a light that shines that will never die. And I don't know what's the source, cause, whatever, but if I choose to actually like illuminate what's in me, aka the spirit, soul, however you want to look at it, and be a dope ass individual, if I choose to do that, I feel like whatever is supposed to happen in my experience is supposed to happen. Like I got to just take my time and allow it to be destined, versus acting like it's all me, acting like I'm the fucking, yo man, I control everything. And then you realize how little control you actually do have. Let your ass catch a cold and be bedridden, or let your ass, like if you catch salmonella or if you get some type of, and be bedridden, and understand how little control we actually have.
Yeah, it's just as easily taken away as just as easily given.
Yeah, which was just fucking crazy when you think about it, right? But then it's like there's that fucking the phrase in the Bible. Again, it's not about being all religious, but I'm saying there's that phrase in the Bible where it's like the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. And then you think about it like similar to that quote you just said, like how easily it's given, how easily it's taken away. That shit is real, bro. You think about it like eyesight, your fucking eyesight. Let your ass, not you, but let somebody ass go blind tomorrow and see how much control you really have in that regard. And I'm not saying in any disrespectful way to a blind person. I'm saying from a standpoint of, we think we have all this control and we think that it's us who governs everything. Trent, I live my life as Graham and I'm Graham. But then we don't understand, like, there might be certain other cosmic things that play, certain other fucking principalities, whatever you want to call them, at play, bro, that we don't even know about because we deny it. Simply because we just, I don't give a fuck. Ghosts and demons, all types of bullshit. Not about getting all weird and shit, but here, because and again, this is me speaking from a lucid as fuck mind. Like, I'm not high in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'm saying it from a standpoint of, if this type of shit is real, you see two people arguing, bro, over a fucking cup of coffee, and you say to yourself, how is it that deep? There might be something else at play that's fucking making both these people bark at each other like they hate each other over this cup of coffee. I don't know, man. Shit's real. I be seeing some bullshit where it's like there's no way that's two people acting that way. That's got to be some type of evil bullshit within each of them that's acting that way. If I'm ready to kill somebody over a spilt drink, what's driving me? Like what's my source at that point?
Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. So you never know what the fuck people are going through internally, like what's happening in their lives. So
yeah,
that's why I don't try to be out here outwardly being an asshole until somebody, I match energies. That's all I do.
Hey, and that's all we can do. You're right. Reciprocate the energy that's given. I don't know, man. I love the shit out of life, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what does it all mean? Like, it's not even on some like Socrates, Plato type shit. I'm talking about just like, because if whether you're talking about like Freud or whoever, whatever philosopher you think of, bro, like they all have their reasons for why they felt the way they felt. But it's like, it makes you think, man, like these guys are fucking, there's no way that all these dudes have like kind of similar experiences, whether they take opioids or some type of acid or some type of thing, then they go into some like hallucination, and then they come back on some just extremely poetic, as if they got information from another source. And then they come back to fucking reality, like, oh shit, I'm not high no more. And then they fucking write these amazing situations or paint these amazing pictures and shit. And then you're saying to yourself, what the fuck? Something that's why, like, when I say things like source or whatever, it's like, yeah, man, I just think like, what is there anything external that's adding to us? Some people think it's aliens. Because if we're quick to be like, yo, man, these aliens came down, gave us technology, and then you know what I mean? But it's like, who gave the aliens technology or whatever? You know what I mean? Just, it's the question of the constant keep going up higher and higher and higher. And as you know, there's been fucking sightings of quote unquote UFOs. The American government had expressed last year or earlier this year or whatever that, oh yes, there's been sightings. We're not going to bullshit no more. This actually happened or whatever. And it's like, then you start thinking, okay, wait, there actually is more than just us. We're actually seeing quote unquote proof, because us as humans, we got to see proof for something to be real, right? So, but I see the proof in my own life, whether it's certain testimonies, you fuck around and say like on some DMX shit, talking about, Lord, give me a sign. And then next you know, you get a fucking sign that you were looking for. And then you're like, wait a minute. Shit, that was too fucking specific. I know that shit is like, whether you call it God or I know that was that governed that sign or whatever. Like, everyone has their different experiences, of course. And so that's why we kind of come to our own conclusions. But I don't know, Trent. It just makes me think, man. What the fuck else is out there?
Life. It's a strange life, this life we live. Like, we don't know. We have a million questions. And what I learned in first year philosophy, there are a million questions to which there are no answers.
True.
Not offhandedly, anyways.
Yeah. And that's I don't know. I these are the things that like I'm trying to look a little bit more into now, Trent, because I realized once I stop putting out, like as you said, matching energies, once I start putting out certain energies of vanity and shit like that, it's like, fuck, man. I just feel like, yeah, man, certain things within my own experiences started changing for the better because I wasn't attracting the shit I was putting out, if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, like, I don't know whether you want to just call it energies or whatever, like, but yeah, bro, like, that's the type of shit where it's like, it's not even on no hippie shit, like, yeah, man, the fucking energies, man. Fucking,
it's the easiest, most universal way to describe it, frankly. Like, energy, like everything is just like different energy. And I think like that's what like I say, it's like a shorthand, like a catch-all term for everything, like that would, like we've been talking about, like that higher power sort of thing. It's just that energy that flows with all of us in our collective consciousness.
Yeah. Oh no, fuck. Yo, Trent, if you can hear me, my shit might shut off. No.
This Blackout segment brought to you by marijuana, specifically Ghost Train Haze.